We now have the pleasure of meeting a wonderful lady called Leigh Smith. And Leigh joins us today to talk about the care and support that she and her family have received from each. Leigh, her husband Toby, and their 4-year-old son Elliot have all benefited from a range of different services. Leigh's daughter, Beatrice Octavia Iris Smith, was born on the 28th of November 2013. Shortly after that, they all enjoyed their first family Christmas together. However, in January this year, Beatrice became unwell and was admitted to hospital. She was diagnosed with a rare heart condition called restrictive cardiomyopathy, and she spent the next 6 weeks with the help of skilled teams at Norfolk and Norwich Hospital and Great Ormond Street Hospital, fighting to make the most of every day. Ladies and gentlemen, Leigh Smith. Big welcome. Big welcome. Now, Leigh, tell me, when were you first introduced to each?
At Great Ormond Street, when we became quite aware that Beatrice was very, very poorly. On the 23rd, well, around the February time, they introduced us to the idea of each. It became quite clear that although she was put on the UK heart transplant list, that she just became frailer and frailer and was needing more medical support. So on the 23rd of February, we understood that she was dying. So that's kind of when we first kind of were told about each and the services they could offer. After a long night holding her in my arms, she passed away peacefully on the 24th of February this year. She, at that point, each just stepped in. We were able to then come back to Norfolk, where we live. We live in Norwich, and each took over. They, in a fantastic way, they arranged for Beatrice to be brought back to Quidnam, and we met her there. She arrived in a Moses basket looking absolutely angelic. And
I know it's really difficult, and it's wonderful of you to share these thoughts for us. But tell me what kind of services each was able to offer. You know, once she had been brought back, and you had had those moments with her.
So when we arrived, it was amazing. She had her own room. She had her name on the door. She was in the Moses basket, and we could sit with her and just hold her. We were able to spend days with her, just telling her all the things that we wanted to. They were brilliant with my son, Elliot. So he's 4, and he'd spent 6 weeks in and out of hospital. So the play specialists played with dinosaurs. He absolutely loved it there. He was able to have a whale of a time. And it gave Toby and myself the time to just be able to sit and be with our daughter for those precious moments that we knew we would never, ever have again. That was just probably the beginning, really, of what support we've kind of received from each.
You say the beginning. What ongoing support has there been, and how has it helped you?
So they helped us to make the funeral arrangements, which in a time when we were barely thinking as human beings, we just had no idea. You never expect that you're going to have to plan your child's funeral. They gave us ideas. They were able to support Elliot through losing his little sister, who he adored. And then from then on, after the funeral, both my husband and I have benefited from counselling with Amy, who's with us here today. I now attend a bereavement support group, which is invaluable. It's the only place I feel I can really be with people that understand the pain of losing a child. And that's I can't explain how big that is. So we've been out on family days out, which has been amazing, because when you've lived in the hospital bubble, to be able to just have time with my son and my husband to just be us again and learn how to deal with this new pathway that we're treading that we never wanted to tread, that's massive, that's really huge.
What would you like to say to the team at each? What would be your message to them?
Well, strangely, as a physio, I work at the Norfolk and Norwich, and I've worked in paediatrics previously, and I knew of Quidnam. I never imagined in my worst nightmare that I would have this personal experience. There can never be enough thank yous or gratitude given to the people that work at Quidnam. It's the most incredible place, and it's given us the memories. We had memory work. There's never enough that I can say to them.
What you have been doing, though, is fundraising for each. What do you want to achieve with that?
Again, Beatrice taught me quite a lot. She only lived for 89 days, but she taught me more than my whole 33 years of life has taught me. She got people joining the organ donor register, giving blood, and just actually appreciating that life is really precious and fragile. And this is fundraising for me is a way of continuing her legacy. If she was here now, she'd be saying thank you herself in a funny sort of way. And I just want to help other people to have the opportunities we have. It really hurts me to think that there's families out there that can't have this support because it's just not available to them. That for me is a tragedy. And so if I can help in my small way to make sure that other families can have the support that we've had, because this experience, I know, without each would have been so much harder than it already is. So.
And that is what makes it more important than ever that we should have this new children's hospice for Norfolk.
Yeah, I mean, as we've said, Quidnam is an incredibly beautiful place. It's in the most beautiful surroundings, and it will always hold a very special place in so many families' hearts. But I could see when I was there that it's not practical. They need a purpose-built building. They were running out of space when we were there to do what they want to be able to do and what they want to be able to offer. So I know that the people in it make the hospice anyway, and when they move to the new hospice that hopefully people here can help with, it will maintain the spirit and the tranquility and the kind of fun and joy that children bring to your life, and that will carry through, because that's just what each do, and each do incredibly well.
Leigh, I can't thank you enough for sharing your experiences with us, for the work that you are doing for each, which is phenomenal, and the way that you have responded in such a powerful way to what must have been a very tragic event for you. But what you are doing is in Beatrice's memory, and I have to tell you that is fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Leigh Smith.